Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky, on this first Saturday in May 1973. It is 32 minutes to post time for the year's biggest horse race. And over 100,000 people have gathered at the old racetrack on this clear, warm, beautiful spring day. The track is fast, conditions perfect for this American classic. And 13 horses will be competing for the richest Derby prize ever, as all of America now awaits the winner of the first leg of the Triple Crown. Will Secretariat, 1972's Horse of the Year, run back to his form after his defeat 2 weeks ago in the Wood Memorial? Is he truly a super horse? Well, that and other questions will find answers shortly. I'm Jack Whitaker, and this is the 99th running of the Kentucky Derby. 29 minutes to post time, and we believe today may set a new attendance record for the Derby. Even as we left Churchill Downs last night at 11 o'clock, hundreds of young people had already set up tents all around the boundaries of the track. And early this morning, they began flowing into the infield. Most of them come from the nearby states of Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania, but some come great distances. There are several stepladders in view, several frisbees flashing brilliant orange against the green trees beyond the backstretch. Girls are tossed high in the air and caught in blankets. Some people have been dozing in the sun, and others bet and race to the rail to watch the races. Across the track, the grandstand and clubhouse, sold out long ago, are packed. The clientele, perhaps a little more formal than that of the infield, but in no less of a holiday mood this afternoon. Behind the grandstands in the tulip garden, the people move slowly among the julep sellers. And the tulips themselves are a triumph of endurance. After a wet and cold spring, they've had enough staying power to make it through today. All these people have come here to watch 13 horses run in the Derby. And here is Chic Anderson to tell you who they are.
We have a nice field today for the Kentucky Derby, one that'll get into one starting gate, a very important point. Let's look at them. First of all, number 1, Angle Light, the horse that pulled the big upset in the Wood Memorial, beating his stablemate Secretariat, and also a top contender, Sham. Angle Light will be ridden today by jockey John LeBlanc, the normal rider for La Prévoyante, the fine 2-year-old filly. The other half of the entry, Secretariat, one of those storied great horses. Secretariat, the Meadow Stable Hopes, a $6 million horse, and ridden again today by jockey Ron Turcotte. We have 2 entries in the race. The second entry begins with number 2, Shecky Green. And Shecky Green is a very fast horse. There's some question about how far he'll go. Larry Adams will do the piloting today. 2C, a fine racehorse, My Gallant, the winner of the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland. And My Gallant had a change in riders, but certainly didn't do badly in getting Braulio Baeza aboard. 3 is Restless Jet. He'll come from far off the pace, probably. Mike Hole is the rider for Restless Jet. 4, Warbucks and Bill Hartack, who'll be trying for a record-breaking 6th Kentucky Derby win. Number 5 is Sham, and right at the moment, he's the second choice or first choice in our race as we near post time. Sham has the services of the leading rider in the nation, Lafitte Pincay Jr. Number 6 is Navajo. Navajo's an Indiana bred. He's a gray horse, and he has Buddy Suarez up. He'll probably trail and make one big run. Then we have Twice a Prince, also a come-from-behind horse with Angel Santiago. Number 8, Our Native, a very close second in the Bluegrass Stakes. And Donnie Brumfield, who won on Kauai King, will be aboard Our Native. The 9 horse is Royal and Regal, a speed horse. He'll show a lot of it today. Walter Blum gets the call. Then it's number 10, Forgo, who disappointed in the Bluegrass Stakes, but who has worked sensationally here at Churchill Downs. And regular rider Pete Anderson will be up on Forgo. And completing the field is number 11, Gold Bag. Gold Bag is probably the only horse in the field who doesn't have true Derby credentials. He'll be ridden by Early Fires, and interestingly enough, was bred by Mrs. Lucien Lawrence. And that's our field in today's Kentucky Derby.
Thank you very much, Chic Anderson, and we also like to thank Tony Oswald, a Louisville artist, for those lovely renderings of the jockeys and their colors. The Derby horses now are making the long walk from the barns into the paddock area. Some of them already arrived there. Stationed in the paddock area, Haywood Hale Broun. Let's go to him for a report.
What I want to show you now is the racing establishment. This tight, crowded knot of people that you see in the paddock here is many more than 13 owners, 13 trainers, and a few friends. This is all of what makes racing. This is people like Leslie Combs, the breeder, who sells the young horses and lets someone else run them. This is Mrs. Tippett, the breeder. This is people like Walter or rather, the master of, my goodness, a King Ranch is here, who had Middle Ground and Assault. There are people, there is the press. They're more than just friends. It is all the people who spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can see that that green area is entirely packed with the celebrated. Mrs. Tweedy, who owns Secretariat, has brought a whole family, and I've just been discussing with her son, whom I would guess from my advanced age to be about 12, the question of how nervous one is. And he agreed with me that if you're not nervous at the races, there isn't much sense in coming at all. But there are about 500 people here, and if you wanted to borrow money, it would be a wonderful place to be. This is the creme de la creme of racing owners.
And this tells you what the betting public thinks of the outcome will be today. Secretariat and Angolite, the entry are the favorites. The second favorite is Sham. And we are now 23 minutes from post time as we look back down into the paddock there, where Woody Broun was just giving you a rundown on who is there. It's a rather small place to take in all of these people. Soon there'll be about 26 or 27 horses there on top of all of those people. And it's rather close quarters, but we're going to take you right down there and show you the actual saddling of these horses as they now are. We're coming to the end of them. They're still on the slow walk over from the barns. I think the last one is left, and he should be down around the first turn now as we look out here on this beautiful day. There we go. Here they come. Let's go back down now to Haywood Hale Broun in the paddock.
Coming towards us now is a horse, and you will see Mr. Walter Coleman perform an odd service, which is a vital one. He peels back the horse's lip. The horse is coming up right now. He looks at a tattooed number there to make sure that the horse is, in fact, the horse you wanted. It's an odd and rather finger-risking profession. You see him now. He tells me that over 10 years, about 15 wrong horses have come, always as an honest mistake, somebody bringing the wrong horse. But these all have a number painlessly tattooed on the upper lip. So if you're in doubt, you can be sure that the one you selected really is here. Now you see he's getting another one, and you can see that there is a 4-figure number up there. There is also the problem that the horses have a nasal jelly, which I'm told is more of a hazard, getting it all over his fingers and being bitten. He describes, Mr. Coleman does, being bitten as pretty painful. And now, with more of a more profound nature, here's Jack Whitaker.
Thank you, Woody Broun. Again, the horse is moving now quite smartly up here. They'll be all in the paddock in a very short time. And as you all know, the Derby picture for 1973 changed quite suddenly, had a definite change 2 weeks ago after the running of the Wood Memorial Aqueduct Park in New York. Up till then, everybody had figured Secretariat was a breeze. Here is the start of the Wood Memorial, and that's when Secretariat's trouble began. You'll see him with the very definitive Meadow Stable blue and white blocks there. He got a terrible start, and even at this point, when they're just a few jumps out, he's about a length behind. Now, outside of him, as entry made as he will be today, Angolite just flew to the lead. There's a very short run to the turn here at Aqueduct, and Angolite got there and in good shape. After a tremendously slow first quarter, it was still Angolite with Sham right behind him in second place, and down the back stretch, Secretariat dead last. But now Ronnie Turcotte, aboard him, asks the big colt for a move, and there he goes. Angolite still maintaining a rather slow pace, and Sham just right behind him, not letting him out of his sights, and perhaps waiting for Secretariat to come up on him. But Secretariat had a lot of way to go, as you can see here. He did pass several horses, but when he got to about the half-mile pole, where he usually explodes for his big move, he just hung. It was pretty much that situation as they headed for the turn for home. It's still Angolite in front with Sham right on him. And now Secretariat on the outside begins to pass some tiring horses, but moves tremendously wide here, as you see. He's the widest horse, thus giving himself more ground to cover as Angolite on the rail. And now, Sham's jockey, believing that Secretariat indeed will not show up, starts to go to the whip and ask Angolite to set out to take on, or rather Sham to take on Angolite, as Secretariat keeps moving up. But at this point, most of the people rather knew Secretariat couldn't make it. And now the race was to see whether or not Sham would overtake Angolite. But Angolite stole the race with a slow pace. Sham moving very nicely now, starts to get up and was closing, it appeared, some people said, very well. Others said he had had ample opportunity to catch Angle Light and did not. The big news, of course, was that Secretariat was defeated, finished third, had a lackluster race. And that's why a lot of these horses are here today, and that's one of the questions we'll have answered.